Hey guys, Brian from Brian Boas here. It's no secret that boas and other snakes look their best right after they shed. So for today's video, I thought I'd show you some of my most beautiful boas that have all shed within the last few days. It seems an awful lot lately when I go to do a video on a certain type of boa, half of the animals that I plan to use in the video are in shed. And as you know, when they're in shed, they tend to get much duller looking and the colors are really muted. And overall, they just don't look all that great. And it's actually kind of a progressive decline where as they go on in the shed cycle, they get a little more dull. And then there's a big loss of color right before they shed when they're in the shed cycle. And then after they shed, they just look great. So I always try to photograph my animals right after they shed. It's the time of the snake's life cycle when you can see its true colors really shining through. I feel like I'm in a cheesy 80s song. Anyway, for today I thought I'd start with this beautiful Suriname Redtail. And this female was born here back in 2016, so she's now 5 years old, approaching adult size. And this female really stood out. She just had a different look from the rest in the litter. She was really pinky color even as a baby. She's got these beautiful pinky purple colors. I kind of like the shape of the saddles. They're a little bit different than the other animals in this litter. And she's got a really nice long red tail. And this female might be ready to breed for 2022. Just still waiting to determine my final list of pairings. But a real nice female, you know, different look from some other Suriname red tails. And just always really liked this animal. You can see she just shed and she looks really beautiful with her color and pattern just really, you know, shining through. Here's another Suriname that has just shed recently. And this is another holdback 2016 female from a different bloodline. This is from my Prometheus bloodline. And this animal I really love. She just definitely has a different look from the female I just showed you. Different ground color, different saddles. You know, her tail is a little bit darker, but overall gorgeous, gorgeous animal. I like both of these animals. Again, they look kind of different, but they both have characteristics that I really am drawn to, which is why I held them back. Like the first female, she's also a potential breeder for next year. Just have to see how my thinking shapes up in the next few months as I'm planning my 2022 breeding pairs. So I'd be interested in what you guys think, which of these two female Suriname redtails you prefer, the first one or the second one, so please let me know in a comment below. Moving on from the Suriname redtails, here we have a Hog Island Boa, and this female was born here in 2018. So this is a pure Sears line animal that just recently shed, and you can see her beautiful colors. I think the Hog Island Boas are animals you really have to see in person to really truly appreciate, because they have all sorts of these subtle shades of pink and orange and green and even blue sometimes. Some of it comes across on camera, some of it doesn't, but they're just really gorgeous animals. This is the pure Sears line that I bred with animals produced by Vin Russo. And what I like about this animal, she has the speckling that's characteristic of the wild Hog Island Boas, but just a lot of beautiful colors. I would say that her predominant colors are kind of orangey and peach, but definitely also some greens and blues in there, a little more subtle, and it comes across better in person. So if you're interested in Hog Islands and you've never seen one, I would definitely recommend you check one out in person to really appreciate the beauty of their colors. Here's another island boa that just shed. So this is a Caulker Cay or Key Caulker Island Boa. This guy is 2016 born, produced by Chris Wolf. So he's about 5 years old. I haven't really shown off my Caulker Cay Boas very often on camera, so excited to get this guy out. And he's just got this beautiful gray coloration. I have a lot of Caulker Cay Boas and have bred those a number of times. I haven't bred my Caulker Cay Boas yet, so I'm looking forward to pairing them up next year in 2022. The Caulker Cay are similar overall to the Caulker Cay in that they have this grayish coloration and this dwarf size, but they're different in that the saddles tend to be darker, kind of more of a black color. The ground color is a little darker. Saddles are a little more regular, you know, a little blockier. And I've also find them to be stockier. They're thicker. than the Caulker Cay, and they're definitely a squeezy boa. They really like to hold on. But a really cool dwarf island locality for someone looking for a small boa. These are just great animals, great to take out, great to handle, beautiful animals. Can't recommend stronger than the Caulker Cay Boas. Next we have a morph boa that shed recently, and this is a VPIT positive Junglow Sunglow. This animal is positive for the VPIT positive albino as well as the hypo and the jungle genes. And you can see it's definitely what I would call a designer boa. You can see it looks dramatically different from a wild type boa. You know, really cool geometric pattern to the saddles and this, you know, beautiful orange and yellow coloration. And so this animal is actually only about 2.5 years old. This is a 2019 baby, early 2019. You can see how big she is already. These morph boas, they just grow quite a bit faster than the locality boas, especially the true redtails. I have true redtails that are almost 2 years older than this animal, and they're smaller than this animal. And it's not that I'm feeding this animal more, because they all get the same general feeding regimen. These morph boas just grow a lot faster. I think they've been selected to grow faster because with each generation, people are trying to breed them younger and younger. So there's this pressure for them to grow faster and faster. And they're really becoming domestic animals at this point. But just a really cool look. I know a lot of people that watch this channel aren't into the morph boas, and that's fine. But I think they morph boas do offer a lot of things that I don't get from my locality boas. And I enjoy keeping some of them, although my main interest, of course, is the locality boas. This is our next recently shed boa. This is a 2018 Honduran Firebelly Boa male that was born here. And so this is the rare bloodline of Honduran Boa Imperator, said to originate on the island of Roatan off of the coast of Honduras. And so this guy shows you some of the features of these animals. First and foremost, we have this reddish orange belly, which varies. You know, some animals are really intense, like my adult female, the mother of this animal. Others, it's a little less intense. And it does develop as the animals age. They also often will have areas of the body that are striped or patternless, like this male. And in fact, the father of this guy is almost all completely patternless without many saddles. And they have this short, stumpy head that's characteristic of Honduran boas with these big, orangey looking eyes. Really cool look to a boa. Really neat boa, and there are unfortunately very few people that are working with this bloodline. I was lucky to have a litter of Honduran Firebellies born this year, and I have some full sibling animals that are on sale right now, so you can check those out at my Fauna Classifieds page. The link is in the description below the video. But if you've been looking to get into these beautiful Honduran Firebellies that aren't available really that often, in fact, I don't really know of many people that are still working with them. I'd love to add some less closely related animals to my breeding group because unfortunately they're all getting to be really inbred because there's so few animals available. I think there were only like 4 animals that founded this bloodline. So let me know if you know anyone that's working with Honduran Firebellies. Here's an awesome locality boa that just shed. This is a female Argentine Boa, Boa Constrictor occidentalis. And this female is subadult. She's about 2.5 years or so old. This is a different bloodline from my young adult females. And this bloodline is kind of more of a black and white looking color versus my adult females are this rich, deep chocolate brown color. So really nice look. What's cool about this animal is she's starting to show the transition from the more ordered saddles to the more irregular pattern of adults. So typically the baby Argentines have this more regular arranged saddles, and then as they age it becomes less distinct and more of this reticular network like we're seeing in this animal. But really cool look. It's what separates the Argentine subspecies of Boa constrictor from some of the other subspecies of Boa constrictor. And so this female isn't going to be ready to breed for another few years, but I am planning on pairing up some of my young adult Argentine Boas in the 2022 breeding season. So fingers crossed that I'll be able to produce some of these beauties in 2022. And it's been quite a while since I produced any Argentine Boas. Since I started the video with a true redtail, I thought I'd end it with a true redtail. and this is a male Venezuelan true red-tail boa from the Tamatama, Venezuela locality. So this is a very rare locality boa that was, he's really like not cooperating here. This is a rare locality boa that is a bloodline that was founded by Terry Cullen from animals that were collected at this village Tamatama. It's at the confluences of the Orinoco and the Cassiquari rivers in southern Venezuela. And they're really a distinctive form of true red-tail, definitely a lot different from my Suriname boas. They have this kind of orangey or yellowish golden ground color, kind of like a Peruvian, but they have a much shorter, kind of more stumpy looking head, almost like a boa imperator. And this guy has peak saddles. My other female, my female from this bloodline has not in peak saddles, but really unusual looking boa. I tried to breed these this year. Unfortunately, I wasn't successful. So I'm kind of thinking about 2022 and how I'm going to do things differently in 2022. You know, and every year at the end of the breeding season, I kind of take stock of my results and decide what I'm going to do differently. And maybe I'll do a video in the future on changes I'm going to be making in 2022 based on my experiences of 2021. And of course, the great thing about breeding boas is always a learning experience, and you learn something new every time you do it with each passing year. Never a dull moment. So anyway, hopefully this showed you some of my beautiful boas that have just shed, and you've seen the best approximation of what they look like. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to shoot me a line. Thanks for watching and enjoy your boas.